At Shelter Insurance, we've found that peace of mind offers some real advantages. That's why we work hard to make things easier for you. By sheltering your cars, by sheltering your home, by sheltering your toys, by sheltering your life. Peace of mind. Isn't that the best shelter there is? Shelter Insurance. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Ask Shelter Agent Mark Manning about Shelter's competitive insurance rates.
Agency on Aging in the Newport office, and we're joined by Arlene Haney. And good to see you again, girl. I hadn't seen you in some time, but welcome to the program.
Thank you.
We want to find out some things today about open enrollment. We'll get right to that. But first of all, tell us a little bit about Arlene Haney. Tell us about growing up, and then how long you've been at White River, and what your job title is.
I was born and raised up around Chicago, Illinois.
Okay.
Ended up moving down here because I got married. Been here with the White River Area Agency on Aging for 3 years. Before that, I worked at Attention Medical, learned a lot through that. And before that, I also worked as care manager, which is what I do now, at the health department before they closed their program. So I've been here 3 years, and I love it. It's a great job. I'm a care manager.
Okay, you mentioned care manager. Kind of share with us what exactly that is.
Okay. I go into the home and evaluate the people that need help. I go in and order supplies for them if they need incontinence supplies, set up transportation, just make sure that they have what they need to be able to stay in the home, so they don't have to go to the nursing home or stuff. We set up aids, the RN goes with us, and we do that, and just try to make sure that they have all the tools they need to be able to stay at home.
I know that when y'all were in the same building that we were for several years, and sometime while you were there for some of that time, and many years before that, is a busy place, and no doubt that you serve a lot of people within the community. No doubt about that.
Yes, sir.
And today we want to talk about, we're in open enrollment, and we hear that term a lot, and we hear, first of all, I'm going to ask you just real quickly, we hear about Medicare, Medicaid, we're in Medicare. Little difference between those two programs. What kind of, just basically, what's the difference between
Just about everybody, when you turn 65, you can get Medicare. Medicaid is for the low-cost people, usually somebody that makes under or draws under about $730 a month, then they can qualify for Medicaid, which helps pay their some of the 20% of their medical that Medicare doesn't pay. But most people can get Medicare when you turn 65. But Medicaid it just depends on, your disability, how much you draw. Medicaid is, like I said, more for the lower cost, people that don't draw a whole lot of money. People that used to be farmers that never paid in for Medicare, they can draw Medicaid. So that's what.
Well, a busy time of year for you, and you talk about handling so many cases last month and filming early in the month. Tell us about open enrollment, what that is, who that helps, and why they need to contact us here at White River Area Agency on Aging.
All right. Open enrollment is the time that you can change your insurance, your Medicare Part D insurance, plus if you decide that you don't want, if you have a supplement plan, you can change your supplement plan. It's just the time that you can change anything to do with Medicare. Its open enrollment is from October 15th till December 7th. If you don't do it in that time, then you can't change it. If you have an insurance or a Part D that you had last year and you don't come in and get it checked and change it, then you're going to have the same thing. Now, you don't have to change your insurance. If you're happy with your Part D and it's serving your needs, your copays are good, your premium is good, that you don't have to change it. But we recommend that everybody that has a Part D plan comes in and gets it checked, because you may be on a plan now that this year or last year was cheaper, and this year they've gone up $30, $40. So you need to come in and check and see if there's another plan that will do the same thing but for a lesser cost.
So basically, an evaluation of where you are from an insurance standpoint to save you some money and to make sure that you're on the right plan that best benefits you, no doubt
Yes,
about that.
exactly.
And when you get into that plan, and do people generally know that they need to change, or do they don't know and then they come in and go, oh golly gee, I'm
Yeah.
glad I came in?
We have some that do that, some no. We try to tell them every year, make sure you come back next year and check your plan. The ones that don't know, or a lot of times, are the ones that are just coming into Medicare.
Right.
Just turning 65, and they realize, Medicare is bad about not telling them that they need to get into a Part D plan. They don't tell you that. They send you the book and they say, read the book, You know how that goes. People don't read the book. But we try to advertise as much as we can to let people know, if you have Medicare, you're 65, you need to have a Part D. And we do have some that come in and say, oh, I'm so glad that I came in and checked it,
Sure.
And they have a Part D plan, but it's a lot of times Medicare will assign them a Part D, and it's usually the most expensive one.
Right.
So when they come in and say, oh my goodness, I'm saving $300 a year, by coming in and checking. I had a lady in the other day that she was paying, I think it was $56 a month for her premium, for her insurance premium, and we got her down to one that was $16 a month.
Wow, yeah.
So, and it covered exactly the same thing. That's the thing we do. We do compare them to make sure, we want to make sure that they're on the right drug plan, that's not going to cost them. Some of them need to have one that has a deductible. Some can go without a deductible. If they have medicines that cost a lot, we want to make sure they have a deductible, so that the deductible will take care of it the first month, and then their rest of their copays will be cheaper.
Obviously, everybody's different.
Yes.
Depending on the drugs that they take,
Yes.
so on and so forth. Everybody's different.
Right.
Well, if they need to talk to you, how do we get in touch with you? By phone, by office, come by the office? How does that work?
Either way, they can call. We are doing a Part D fair on November 16th from 9 to 12.
Okay.
But I am also doing appointments on Tuesdays, and they can call and talk to Mary, and Mary will set up an appointment for them. Or if they walk in and I'm not tied up with anything, then we'll definitely take them then too. But if they can call and make an appointment or come, the best thing will be to come on November 16th, if they can, because there'll be 4 or 5 of us here that'll be doing that.
Here on
here
location?
here at the office, yes.
Okay, good deal, good deal.
We try to tell everybody, somebody says, well, where is your office? And everybody knows where U.S. Pizza is, and
Sure.
we are right next door to U.S. Pizza.
Absolutely.
So,
And unless you need the services, there's not people that just, if you're 27 years old and not needing the services that White River Area Agency and On Agency has, we probably don't know where it is.
Right, exactly.
But if we need the services,
Yes.
no doubt everybody knows where it
Yes.
is. Arlene, interesting stuff, and we encourage everybody that to come by and let Arlene sit down with you and go over the plan and see what will best help you. And it certainly could help save you some money, at least
Yes.
get you on the right plan that you need to be on. Thank you so much.
Well,
for good
you're welcome.
information.
Appreciate
Arlene
it.
Haney, White River Area Agency on Aging here in Newport. Jan Jackson Maris joins us here on the Business Spotlight and on cable15tv.com, YouTube, and Facebook. And we're at the Jackson's Funeral Home. It's always my pleasure to get to sit down and visit with my good friend. And how's Miss Jan today?
I'm excellent.
Good
I'm
deal.
just glad to be here.
Aren't we all glad to be
Yes.
here? And we talked a little bit before we got on the air, and we've got something that we want to talk about today that's dear to both of our hearts. Newport, Arkansas. I think sometimes, Miss Jan, we don't appreciate the things that we have here, but this is a good place. This is a good place to be.
Well, I think probably 2 of the biggest Newport, Arkansas fans are sitting right here at
I
this
think
table.
so.
I
think so.
don't think that there's anybody who loves it any more than we do, and I'm grateful this is my home. I'm grateful it's where I was born and where I've been raised, and for the friendships and I just love everything about home.
I think when you look at it and you look at what Newport, Arkansas has to offer, I think there are so many hidden treasures that are really not hidden at all. I mean, some of the things that are around our community and what our community what we do for each other is second to none, and I don't think you can get it anywhere else.
I don't think you can either.
Beautiful park downtown.
Beautiful park downtown, beautiful new Veterans Park downtown, beautiful Jacksonport State Park.
Beautiful city park.
Beautiful city park
Yeah.
at Lockwood. I mean,
On the lake.
on the lake. And I can remember my mother talking about, after she had me, she was in the hospital at Little Rock for a month. And it was over Christmas. And she said the most beautiful sight to her is when on the television they showed the Christmas tree on
Right.
Newport Lake.
Absolutely.
She said it was the best feeling in the world to see that. She said that was home.
A lot of traditions in Newport, Arkansas that we have. A lot of great people that have come from Newport, Arkansas. A lot of people that choose to come home, and you come home to a family business that's been here many, many years, and I elected to stay here, and you know, of course, Bud and I started a family business, and Ben has joined us in the family business. But as I look around Newport, Arkansas, it's not just so much the memories of a kid, but it's looking toward the future also of what our little old town holds, and I get offended sometimes when people talk bad about our little town.
I do too. It's hard to offend me, but when you start talking badly about our town, I can become offended.
We did the. Go ahead. I'm
because
sorry.
it's a place where you're loved and accepted, and if something goes wrong, you know somebody's going to be there to help you.
Great community support.
It is it's like you said, second to none.
I think that I think being in Newport is like being in no other place in the world, and I talked about that earlier with Miss Jan before we got on about as I come into Newport, Arkansas, each time I've gone out of town, and I love knowing if it's 10 o'clock at night, I love knowing that we'll get off that exit right up here and exit 83, and then I'm gonna pull right in there, and I'm gonna put my head down, and I'm gonna sleep in Newport, Arkansas.
That's right.
But I mean, just great people. I mean, we've had senators and great actresses, and I mean, just tons of famous people, and we honor a lot of those people with the Hall of Fame, the Alumni
We
Hall of Fame.
absolutely do. Rhett just had his 40th year class reunion, and they're the class of 77, and they are the first class that ever had 2 graduates to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Is that right?
And one was Charles Ray, and the other was Mark Ramsey.
Yeah.
And so I think they're very proud of that, and it makes me proud too. You know, 2 guys, same year, Newport High School.
Absolutely.
We just have some. Newport High School has turned out some exceptional people.
I think no doubt about that, and still doing so, and you don't ever know what holds, what the future holds for people when they get out of high school, and sometimes you lose track of some of those people, and that's why the Alumni Association and the foundation, you know, got together and said, let's honor some of these people that maybe we've forgotten about. And what a story Mark Ramsey is, not that Charles had done, but what a story that is about his upbringing and
his wonderful grandmother.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
It's just a great success story.
I think there are a lot of great success stories out there, but I look back and I think my mother was from here, my daddy was not, but my daddy chose to stay here. Obviously, Bud, Kenny, and myself born and reared right here in Newport, and Kenny is, you know, moved to Jonesboro, kids, grandkids, and he's moved to Jonesboro, but I see him more now than I did when he lived here. He's here about 4 days out of the week, and he always comes by.
I think that's great.
Hard to move, isn't it?
It is hard to move.
Hard to move. Well, and it's veterans. We're honoring our veterans this month, and a salute to the people that when you look around the country and you look at the NFL and people not wanting to stand for the flag and saying that's a simple protest and that's for the right, and everybody has their opinion and their rights on that, and that's okay. But I notice I don't know if you could see it, honoring those who served in the background right there. We have 2 of our servicemen standing up and saluting the flag, and that's kind of what it's all about.
And we have that here every day.
We do.
I mean, we have a display honoring veterans 365 days a year at Jackson's Funeral Home.
And we'll continue to do so.
We will continue to do so.
Well, no doubt, we talked about it 1,000 times of how the Jackson family has done it right for many, many years and continue to do so. And we, from the bottom of our hearts appreciate it. And every time I go to a funeral and I see you, I tell you, and I tell you exactly how I feel. But, something that also just along the line of people that have gone on to do great things as a young person, Will Dupree.
Absolutely. I'm so proud of Will.
Tell us about Will and what we got coming up. We're going to show it right here after the interview.
Will is a 2006 Newport High School graduate, and then he graduated from Northwestern in 2010, and he's been at the Jonesboro television station. He's a journalist and he's a television journalist, I should have said, and he's been at Jonesboro, then he went to Little Rock.
Right.
And now he's in Tulsa and probably looking soon to move to a new market. But we're very, very proud of Will, and I'm so grateful that he came home and donated his time to the Center for Independence, because it is such a worthy cause. And,
yes.
And that is something else our community has to be so proud of. And so I hope everyone enjoys Will's speech. He did a fabulous job.
He did, and he talked from his heart, and his opening of the speech was he's so glad to be back at home and how people had welcomed him back home, and that's kind of the theme of our report today. But it's coming right up. We want you to enjoy that, and certainly consider ACI, and that's something that Miss Alma Black, who's not related to me, started in the 50s. Started in the 50s. And it's been going on since, and they're in need of some monies and a new building.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And anybody who would consider donating, please do.
Absolutely. Miss Jan, always good to see you. I think we love Newport, Arkansas.
I think we do.
And if folks don't understand how much we do love Newport, Arkansas, we'll do another show next time if y'all need to hear us bragging about our
or
little
just
town.
call us and we can tell
Call
you.
us and tell
Give us a call. We can talk to
Don't
you about
text
Newport,
us.
Arkansas.
Don't text us. Call us, and we'd rather talk to you. Miss Jan Jackson Maris from the Jackson Funeral Home, thank you so much for visiting with us.
Thank you, David.
I just want to say thank you all for welcoming me back home. This is pretty amazing. I'm used to looking at like one camera with like maybe a photographer behind it, so this is a little bit unusual to see everybody staring at me. I really don't get to see the people I'm doing the news for, so this is a little bit different. So I prepared some remarks tonight, and I'm going to try to stick to those to sound somewhat intelligible, so we'll do that. All right. Well, I'd first like to extend a sincere gratitude toward Glenda Rutledge May and the Arkansas Center for Independence. Yeah. It was a humbling surprise to get asked to be able to speak at tonight's fundraiser. Initially, I was a little hesitant to do so before accepting it. This makes me a little nervous doing public speaking in front of everybody, but I kind of set aside my own anxiety and trepidation because this is not about me. This is about helping a wonderful organization reach a goal that has eluded it for some time now. Glenda told me tonight that she'd like me to speak about a few things, and those include my career, how I got started with it, and how I learned about the need facing the Arkansas Center for Independence. So I'm going to touch on all those things, and in some ways they're all connected, and I'll talk about that a little bit later too. Right now, though, I'll start from the beginning. As many of you all know, Newport is my home. I was born here, I grew up here, I went to school here, and my family is still here. And there's a few new additions as well, which is great. Since I've now spent several years living and working outside Newport, I think I have a much better understanding about what this place means to me and how it shaped really the person that I am today too. Now, growing up here certainly influenced my decision to become a journalist. I have to say that first and foremost. Initially, I wanted to know all there was about people and places outside our city limits. Journalism became a literal window to the world, introducing me to fascinating people, taking me to interesting places, and educating me about topics and issues that I would have otherwise never known or even thought about or gotten to experience myself. I've also come to realize that so many people in this town, many of them are in this room, laid the building blocks for me to take on this job and handle the responsibilities that come along with it. I first had to thank my mom and dad, who are both here tonight too. I cannot think of any two people who are more supportive or encouraging than they are. They have never once discouraged me from chasing the dream that I'm doing now, And that's pretty amazing because this is not the most practical job that you can think of your kid doing, right? They also opened up opportunity after opportunity for me to further my education and to experience so many things that other kids would never get a chance to do. That privilege has to be acknowledged, and I wish other kids would have that chance too. And maybe that's a topic for another speech on another day, another night, so we'll save that one for there. Because of every sacrifice my parents made and all they continue to do, I strive every single day to make them proud. While there are times when I most definitely fall a little short, and I admit that freely, I at least hope at the core that they are proud of me. And I also want to say that growing up, my brothers and I rolled our eyes and groaned a few times thinking about this, but my dad showed me how valuable it was to start a conversation with literally anyone, and I do mean anyone, and it's a skill that I have to utilize every single day at my job, and I wouldn't be able to do it without him. So that was a great example. Thank you, Dad. I also have to thank my grandfather, Jim Dupree, who is here tonight as well. Working as a reporter and an anchor requires me to comprehend a lot of material, sometimes very quickly. I have to at least sound like I know what I'm talking about. I simply would not be able to do that without a passion for reading, and I believe that love came directly from my pawpaw. Some of my earliest memories are going to see him in his den in Weldon and running through the stacks and stacks of books that he had read cover to cover. And that left a deep impression on me to show me how much you can enjoy reading and how much you can get from it. And it really made me want to be just like him, which was informed, well-read, whip smart, and pretty damn funny. Now, I can't say I'm any of those things now, but he provided the most excellent role model. So thank you, Grandpa. I also have to credit a few other people who showed me that it's possible to both work tirelessly and still be kind to others. They include, first and foremost, Maddie Ellis, John and Rosanna Purdy, Dr. Patty Mullins, Jan Maris, and Red as well, and Marcy Kurtner. I cannot thank them enough for what they did, and there are some influential women in that group, and their husbands are pretty awesome as well. Now, I would not be where I am today either without the education that I received right here in Newport. The teachers, in particular, taught me more than just how to read and write, the most basic of skills. They made material come alive, engaged my curiosity, and created a safe space where I felt valued, respected, and seen. That latter point is so important, and I really want to thank them for that. If you'll humor me for just a moment, I would like to recognize a few of them as well. Frankie Gay, who is here too. Dorothy Mansko, Debbie Dillon, Iris Clark, Kay Brand, Phyllis Gregory, Beverly Tapp, Darby Wallace, Jack Osier, Judy Brannon, Gloria Holden, who is here tonight as well, Jackie Allen, Pat Brown, Sharon Messer, and Donna Morhart. Now, Ms. Holden, I don't use many of the skills that you taught me, but I appreciate it very, very much. Now, they are the ones who deserve monuments to be erected in their honor and to have buildings bearing their names. It's pretty incredible to see some of my classmates go into this very noble field because they too are now working to make sure that a child will believe enough in a dream to be the next one standing up here talking to you about achieving it. Pretty amazing. Now, I hope I didn't lose you with running through all that long list of names, but I just wanted you all to understand how crucial they were in getting to me where I am today. And as you heard, it took a village. They got me ready for everything that would come next. They helped me succeed academically, at Northwestern University, where I graduated from the prestigious Medill School of Journalism. I would not have had that incredible experience without Chris Penix. She made sure that I met every single deadline, had all my application materials in order, and still got in the paperwork for scholarships as well. Her meticulous attention to detail and her organizational skills were crucial in getting so many of my classmates and me to college, and for that, we should all be forever grateful. Now, when I finished college, a lot of you congratulated me when I achieved my dream, as improbable as it might have seemed, and got my first reporting job in Lawrence, Kansas. Many of you even granted me interviews, I'm looking over here at this table in particular, when I came to work at KIT in Jonesboro, and have kept up with all my adventures since I joined KJRH, the NBC affiliate in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now, I cannot talk about my job without also discussing the environment that we journalists are working in right now. And believe me, it's not a very friendly one. Nowadays, we are often referred to as fake news, the enemy of the American people, and unpatriotic. Needless to say, I have a few issues with that. The insults are somehow meant to make us back down, and I've seen that have the exact opposite effect. They are making us work harder and better because facts, honesty, and balance matter now more than ever. A timely quote recently caught my eye, and I thought I'd share it with you all tonight. Daniel Patrick Moynihan, the former senator from New York, once said, quote, "Everyone is entitled to his own opinions, but not his own facts." And I want to repeat that. Everyone is entitled to his own opinions, but not his own facts. We clearly should all respect each other's opinions. That's a given. But facts are not negotiable. The incredible fact-based journalism that is being turned out daily by so many reputable outlets from the national level down to the local level make me want to keep doing this. I feel invigorated and excited to see where my career will go from here. I've got a lot more to give, a lot more stories to tell, and a lot more hard work to do too. And I know that many of you will be cheering me on, whatever should come next. No matter where I go, I hope to adhere to one belief in particular, that we journalists have to cover our communities completely. We not only have to work to right wrongs and hold the powerful accountable, but we must also shine a light on the people and the groups making a difference and doing some good. And that's exactly how I came into contact and learned more about the Arkansas Center for Independence. When I was working in Jonesboro, I did several stories about the extensive amount of services and care that this organization provides to adults with developmental disabilities. I have now interviewed and talked to 2 different directors from this exact agency about the need for a new facility, and that was about 6 years ago, and still it has not happened. I, however, am encouraged to see all of you here tonight supporting this particular effort, because a new facility would open a new chapter for this organization and prolong its presence here in this community. And I can only hope that that support will last long after tonight. I have been assured that all the money raised through this event in particular will go to the building fund, not to administrative costs or other expenses. This is serious. They want to build this, and it's time. Now, I've heard from 2 different directors now that when this organization was founded and first needed a home, that they found one outside town. That way the people it helped would basically be kept out of sight and out of mind. Hearing that then bothered me, and I hope that it bothers you as much as it did for me. That simply is not acceptable anymore. We cannot change our history, that is true, but we can do something to make the future better. Moving the Arkansas Center for Independence into the middle of town, as these plans call for, will not only make its services more easily accessible to the people who truly need it, it will also raise awareness, promote acceptance, and create empathy for people with special needs. I think we can all agree that this would make Newport an even better place to call home. Thank you all.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dr. McDowell Show, Customized Care, Vision Care, Newport Village Mall. Hi, Doc. What's up?
See, the beautiful thing is I'm actually the one talking, and he's the dummy.
I bring out the prop.
Give me that.
I bring out the prop for one reason, and one reason only. For you to wear as like, this is what this guy dressed up as for Halloween.
Now, Yeah, my wife said I had the wrong end of the horse whenever I got the mask, but it was something. I like this thing. I bought this. David asked me earlier. I got this on Amazon for $8.
$8.
$8.
They saw you coming.
I got
for
at
sure.
least $20 worth of enjoyment out of it so far. It was a good investment. I enjoy it.
Here's what I know. Go to Customized Vision Care on their Facebook page and just look at the picture that is. That was good for that $500 piece. Are we on? Are we still on? There is so much professionalism here. I just can't stand it.
It's scary.
Is everything good?
It's good.
I had my appointment today to see the doc.
Yes.
Ran through the gamut and got through, and doc says, "Here we are. This is what we're going to do," and I like it. I like it.
I like it a
I
lot.
like it the way you tell it, the way it is. Professionalism, and from a what did I say? Eye vision care.
Eye vision.
From eye vision care,
Which is different than foot vision, thank goodness.
Yes, absolutely. I'm well satisfied with Dr. McDowell and what you do to
thank
help
you.
eyes.
I hope so.
It's just I like the best. I like to do business with the best.
Well, I will say this. I'm not going to toot a horn by any means, nor am I try to compare myself to anybody. I try to give the best care I can that I'm possible to give. So
You do that too.
And if that is considered good by most and some, then fantastic. That's my goal.
Well, here's what I do know, and I say this with all sincerity. And we've been doing this show for a long time. Customized Vision Care. We're located in Newport. We're in the Village
Yes.
Mall. If you're looking for a guy that does this kind of work, I totally.
This kind of work.
Well, no, what I'm saying is there are all kinds of different eye doctors,
Yes, yes.
and yours is a specialty for sure. Because if we can't do what your services allow us to do, we don't see.
Correct.
We like to see.
Actually, it's kind of funny you bring that up. As one of the big pushes by the AOA, the American Optometric Association, is that studies show that 80 to 85% of our daily life involves vision in one way, shape, or form, if not purely indirectly. And learning, especially for kids, 90 to 95% visually related. So poor vision often relates to poor grades. Poor vision often relates to poor quality of life. And a lot of people take it for granted.
Poor
said
performance at work.
I had a patient yesterday, and I say this more frequently than I'd like to admit, but I actually said to them, how is instantly improved vision, how's that not been on the top of your to-do list? It boggles my mind. I told the patient, I think I'm going to go move my car before you leave because I'm scared that you will not see the boundaries in which you should be in and hit my car. It's just...
It should be at the top
It's
of our list.
crazy.
Why is it not at the top of our list? What do people say? I mean, I would...
Now, this is not a study. This is my opinion.
Okay.
It's not
How about your opinion?
It's not a cosmetic thing. People...
Okay.
How many teeth whitening commercials do you see and products do we have available that just readily go out there, I'm going to help change my appearance to others? Well, that's great. You're trying to supply a better product, if you will, to others to see. But I think it's equally important to be able to see the others and make sure what they're giving you is legit, There are some snake oil salesmen out there,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Got you. Well, I will say this, the examination process is thorough. It's complete. I don't think you leave any stone unturned. You turn them all over. You look, you diagnose, you dig. And I was in the exam room today, and we were digging. We were trying to find just a smidgen of a better vision, and you worked at that for me, and I appreciate that. And that's what I think a lot of people in today's world get away from that type of professionalism. I think you really care about my eyesight.
I do.
I think you really do care.
You have to understand, every patient who chooses to come see me and uses me as their eye care provider, they're a direct reflection. They are a product.
Right.
They are what I supply. Now, yes, I supply glasses and I supply eye care, but realistically, others as the saying goes, word of mouth is the best advertisement ever. If I do well on the patients, you probably aren't going to hear much of anything about it. But if I do poorly on patients, everybody's going to hear about it. So my goal is to make it look as though I didn't do a thing at all.
the way of the world, isn't
It's
it?
the way of the world.
If you do bad, they're gonna be on Facebook and they'll talk about
Oh man, will they ever? They'll talk about how my grandfather was Hitler or something. I don't know.
I
It's
see
scary.
stuff really, and we do a
Which
lot
you
of
wasn't, by the way.
No.
Just want to throw that out there.
we do a lot of stuff on Facebook with business, and of course I'm on there all the time and put videos and so on and so forth. But I do see so much negative, and I just want to say, why can't we post something positive? Because you get the negative, and then you get more negative, and then the comments are just negative, and then you get the argument between best friends, and I think
A lot of that is it's detachment, because I can get on Facebook and say anything I want negative about anybody, and there's not any immediate negative repercussions, so to
Right,
speak, from
right.
it. If I'm not going to say it in person, I don't put it on Facebook usually.
right.
Usually.
Usually,
We're all guilty of it, but it's one of those things we have nothing to fear when we're behind a keyboard and knock that out there. So it's an escape for us to throw out the negative thoughts we probably have in our heads anyway. But
I see so many people comment about, and it has nothing to do with what we do here, about the fire the coach, fire the coach.
Yep.
Let's fire the coach, and I don't see anything about fire the cable 15 TV guy, or
I know.
fire your eye doctor, or fire the heart surgeon.
We must be
or-
doing something right.
Yeah, we are, aren't we? Fire the coach. We all have an opinion about whether or not we know whether or not
Oh yeah.
the coach should have the job.
Exactly. We're all experts when it's not our,
You're an
field.
expert in your field.
I am.
Nobody's on there saying, fire the expert.
Fire that guy. He knows way too much about what's going on.
Where are y'all located anyway?
We're in the Newport Village Mall.
How long have you been here?
Forever.
Long
Now,
time.
I've been here 10 years. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
really? We need to have anniversaries
2006, 11, I'm sorry.
there. Oh, we've already missed it.
2006.
So you're doing something right.
Well, I'll find a reason to have a party. I mean,
The Halloween
why not?
deal just, and I'm telling you, go to the Facebook.
Halloween was fun.
Like our Facebook page.
I had some of the staff. I mean, in all the offices, the beautiful thing about it, the Pocahontas staff are all hippies, collectively hippies.
Right.
And we decided to go a little separatist here, if you want to call it that. Had a couple of staff team up to be a cartoon duo. We had Rosie the Riveter
Yes.
and a cat, and then a Thai Beanie Baby. That was a fun thing.
That was cute, but this thing right here was lights
Oh,
out,
it was fun, and it's simple, it's subtle, and
silly.
quirky.
Simple.
Quirky.
No, you got to get an S word in there.
Stable.
Stable. I was thinking something else, but I'll take stable. Let's start.
Stable. Yeah.
So, eye care business been good, huh?
It's been really good.
Good deal.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
deal. And,
I actually, going back to the mask, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I so badly wanted to wear it during the exam and ask patients, which one's better? Or, anyway.
You did come into my office. You did come into my office today with it on, and I wasn't surprised
Yeah.
at all. Dr. McDowell, I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
You do a great job here. We appreciate you being in Newport, Arkansas, and taking care of a lot of those folks, especially those old folks now that can't see. You help us see a lot better. Thank you, my
sir.
friend.
Thank you.
Lindley Health and Rehab Center, and y'all know we're located in Newport. It's always a pleasure to get to come here and visit with some of the ladies and the guys who work, participate, and are a part of a great organization. And Sherry Hanley joins us once again. And Sherry, welcome back to the program.
Welcome, David. It's good to be back. We just finished our 7th annual watermelon eating contest last month. So this month, I thought we'd do like a personal interview with Bobby Williams, Kay Woodruff, and they've got some new job titles that we're really excited about. They've been part of our Lindley family for a long, long time, and we'll ask them what they do here.
Well, there's no doubt that you get new personnel from time to time, and we've talked with Bobby before. And Bobby, we'll start with you. Tell us job title, job description, and kind of what all that entails.
Well, my job title is Director of Nursing, and I oversee the day-to-day management of the nurses and the discipline. Yeah, that's.
Right, you got to have that. You got to have
Yeah,
that.
you know, I really worked on that.
Somebody's got to be in
Yeah,
charge.
And you know, one of the little nurses out front said to get my game face on. So I've been practicing that one too, and I'm not really sure if I got that down yet. But you know, I'm working on the reputation of being really scary. So there I am. But no, really.
Tell us a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit
okay.
about high school and
Okay.
family and so on and so forth.
Well, of course, I'm a Newport girl. Went to Newport High School, graduated. I graduated from Harding with BSN. My basic background is emergency room nursing, and about 3.5 years ago, this really wonderful nurse I know called and says, "Hey, you want a job at Lindley?" And I said, "Sure, I'll try anything once."
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I've been here ever since. It's been an amazing adventure. And that's enough about Sherry Hanley. But you know, this is an incredible nursing, holistic. We see every disease process, you know, that you can imagine. So for anyone that's medically minded,
Right,
you know, I mean, it's a constant balance game of their medications and their labs, and then we are so blessed in this community because we have all these wonderful doctors that we can call and say, "Hey, you know, my little resident down here, your resident is doing this," and they, "Okay, let's do this."
Right.
You know, and so here at Lindley, we have encompassed more of, as well as this being their home, but we're doing more of IV therapy and antibiotics in-house instead of them having to leave and go into the hospital, which is really, really better process for them. They get, some of them will go to the hospital and they'll tell the nurses there, "I just want to go home.
Absolutely.
I just want to go to Lindley."
Absolutely.
And so that's what we do here. It's mom and pop. Sherry keeps us laughing all the time. She keeps TV people in here all the time.
That's
and,
right.
you know, we just don't know what to do.
A lot of fun,
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
every day.
A lot of
every
fun.
day.
Kay, let me ask you, Kay Woodruff, also a Newport girl. Tell us a little bit about you, please.
Well, I've been here a couple years now. I started my nursing career at the prison, and then I went into surgery. So my background is mostly a surgery nurse. I'm like Bobby, I got a call one day and said, "Hey, would you like to come work at Lindley?" And I had to think about it. And I never thought I could work in long-term care, but I love it here. And I'm glad I came. And it's real family oriented. And I have small children that are in the elementary school here. And, you know, they love to come hang out at Lindley.
Absolutely. Well, let me ask you this. What made you change? What was the deciding factor? I mean, there's lots of things, you know, there's money involved and salary and so on. But, I mean, what in your heart made you want to switch?
I don't know. I just think it was something different, and of course the call schedule with the surgery
Right,
and,
yeah.
and having the small children, and this being such a family-oriented place, you know, where I can bring my kids and hang out at work with me if I need to. You know, that had a big factor in my coming to Lindley.
All right, and as an assistant director of nursing, day-to-day operations, what do you kind of do during the course of the day?
My main job function, I would say, is over infection control in the building.
Okay.
And you know, overseeing, you know, different conditions that people get and how can we help prevent that or stop it, or, you know, make sure it doesn't spread throughout the entire building. I'm also her backup, so
Right,
you know, she's
sure.
the good cop, I'm the bad cop.
And somebody's got to be that, don't they?
And we planned that. You know, I mean,
Sure.
yeah, I said, "Kay, will you do this?" And she, "Absolutely."
Sure.
I got it.
Sometimes the assistant has to do
Right.
jobs that are maybe not in the job description,
Yeah,
but jobs that
yeah,
have to be done.
yeah, right.
Yeah, obviously you guys make a great team.
Oh,
we do.
She's
Yes.
wonderful. I mean, she's a blessing to me.
Good deal, good deal. So, at Lindley, and we have fun here. We do lots of things, Sherry Hanley. Talk about some of the things that we've done in the past and kind of some of the things we're going to continue to do in the future.
Oh my gosh, David, I don't even know where to start because there's something going on all the time here at Lindley. Like I said, we just had the watermelon eating contest. We had the ladies' beauty pageant, 4th of July party. So now we're kind of gearing up for
Alzheimer's Walk, remember?
the Alzheimer's Walk that is scheduled to be in Jonesboro October the 8th. We're a big supporter of that. We will, as Team Lindley, support it and walk the walk, and we are currently.
And you can donate money.
Right. We're having fundraisers
Yeah.
for that. And then we'll be kind of gearing up for Halloween, Fall Festival, then Thanksgiving, then Christmas, and I don't know, I may throw in a few surprises. You never know.
Oh yeah, I know. You talk about donating money. How do you do that? How do you do that? How do you donate money? Is there a phone number? Or do we know how we do it?
Yes, if anyone is interested in donating to the Alzheimer's Research Fund, just contact me, myself, or Gerald Carlisle here at Lindley at 870-523-6539, and we will make sure it gets to the right place.
Ladies, have we covered all the basics in nursing that we need to talk about today, or is there something else that we need to add to this particular interview?
Well,
I guess we've covered it all.
yeah, because anything else would be HIPAA.
That's correct.
We can't be talking HIPAA.
No, we don't need to.
Yeah,
we don't need to talk any HIPAA.
No, not on TV.
Absolutely. We appreciate y'all taking time to visit with us, and no doubt that the nursing department here at Lindley Health and Rehab is in fine hands with these two Newport Greyhounds sitting to my left and this young lady to my right, Sherry Hanley. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
We are with my good friend, Mr. Tommy Bain at Farmer's Tire Mart, where the rubber meets the road, filming for our November show. And Mr. Bain, it's always a pleasure to get to see you, sir. Without your glasses today, and tell us why.
Well, I had cataracts removed off of my eyes, and I can see better without them than I can with them, so I carry them in my pocket.
Just in case.
Well, I have to have them. They help me a little bit in reading. But I'm seeing well.
Good deal. You know, they talk about cataract surgery, and everybody that's never had it thinks it's a real major procedure, and it is until you have it done. And it's actually a real simple procedure, but boy, when you get in your eye, you kind of think, whoo, I don't know about that, but it's not too bad.
When I met with my surgeon, eye surgeon, and he told me I was going to have this, and I met with him, and he said, I was concerned about it, and he said, it's just a walk in the park. I said, yeah, buddy, but it's my park you're walking.
Yeah, he's exactly right. Yes, sir. It's your park and not somebody else's. But we want to talk a little bit about Farmer's Tire Mart. We want to talk a little bit about service on vehicles. And if you need to take care of him, you can do that. We can come right back and finish up if that's what you need to do.
He's young.
Okay, I got you. Tommy, you guys continue to keep vehicles road ready, and especially this time of year when the weather has changed and from servicing tires to servicing vehicles. Tell us all about the service.
Well, it's the time of the year to be concerned about that engine going into the winter months, and we're doing some today, flushing the radiators and old junk out of them, and putting new antifreeze in, getting them ready for this winter time, and it's coming. I've been around this place, around area for 70 years now, and it never has failed to turn cold.
Every time about this time of year, winter comes, doesn't it?
Turns cold.
Yes, sir, it does.
It does. And so there's no reason for us to think that it's not going to get cold.
But that turning cold can be hard on a vehicle.
Oh yes, it puts a load on it. It's got to warm up, and that's a big thing too. On a cold morning, you need to let that engine idle,
right,
warm up before you put a load on it. So keep that in mind, and battery maintenance, tire maintenance, and engine maintenance is crucial for the winter time.
I was in the other day, the first little cold snap we had, visited with Bruce, and said, Bruce, I think I've got a flat tire, and he just laughed at me, and y'all said, no, you don't have a flat tire, it's just that cold spell came through here, made you lose some air in your tire. Sure enough, I aired them right up, I'm ready to go. But it's always that type of service that I get at Farmer's Tire Mart. I mean, I really didn't need anything but some air. And I got some of your free air. I got the free air this time. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Tell us, I mean, check antifreeze, Tommy. People need to do that. Everybody needs to do that.
And we'll do that for you. You know, it don't cost you a thing. That's like free air.
Absolutely.
That's a service that we provide. That we have a little tester that we can test that antifreeze with, and at that time, you know, we can see if there's buildup in the radiator, and if it needs to be flushed and serviced, we can do that. But we provide that service, and we like for people to come in and take advantage of that.
Well, there's no doubt when it's your automobile and it's your investment, and you got a wintertime coming in, and we tell you, and you know it's coming, everybody knows it, why not take advantage of it, of
right.
scheduling an appointment to let you look at it, and then if it needs a little old something, you'll tell us.
Yeah,
You'll tell us what it
absolutely.
needs. And,
Absolutely.
And it's a good time to get everything serviced on your automobiles, and again, checking air pressure.
Yeah, check that air pressure. Air pressure and tire rotation is a must
Absolutely.
for tires to get the maximum mileage out of it. We provide those things for our customers.
You had talked about, several months ago about, and it was amazing the number when you said you just think, well, you know, tires are going to last about 15,000 miles, and boy, they last a lot longer than that if you take care of those things.
Yes, and we can't, you know, we can't twist the arm and make you come in and get them rotated. The tires that we sell, we provide that free of charge, rotation for as long as you got them in service.
Sure.
So there's no reason not to have them rotated on a regular basis. Every 5,000 to 6,000 miles, a tire needs to be swapped positions
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
get the maximum miles out of them. Air pressure and rotation
Key.
is
Yeah.
key to mileage on a tire.
And I guess if a man wanted to buy him a brand new set, if he needed a set to start out the winter, you could probably fix him up, couldn't you?
I'd let them twist my arm.
Yeah, let them get 4 new ones if they needed them.
That's right.
4 new shoes. Somebody needs a new pair of shoes this time of year.
That's
but
right.
Get them on your automobile.
You know, Christmas is just down the road a little bit,
It is that.
and a set of tires makes a wonderful Christmas present.
It certainly does.
It does.
Especially if you've got a younger person in your family, maybe somebody that's in college, and maybe somebody that you really don't know what to buy for them. Why not get them something that's going to be, especially if they really need them,
That's right.
from a safety standpoint, keep them in good tires. No doubt a great Christmas present.
Absolutely. And it was my children, even though they're grown and don't live in my house anymore.
Your children, though.
They're still my children.
Yes, sir.
And they still need tires.
They still need tires.
And they come to Daddy.
Yeah, I guarantee you they do. Yes, sir. And if Daddy weren't even in the tire business, they'd still come to Daddy. That's right.
Absolutely.
Mr. Tommy Bain, my friend, I appreciate you, and we invite folks to come by and get you vehicle service for the wintertime right here if you need a new set of tires, and a lot of times you might put that thing up on the rack and find something on the inside where they haven't rotated. You might find some steel coming out of there, and people not even know that they needed a new set of tires.
And that's happened here
Yep.
recently.
Really? Yes, sir. It does happen.
Because parts wear.
Right.
Tie rod ends, ball joints, and there's something that causes them to wear out.
Right.
And when a tire or when a ball joint gets a lot of slack in it, you need to replace it. The tie
Right.
rod gets a lot of slack in it, need to replace it. Save the wear on the tire. Wear one of those expensive tires out because of a faulty part.
Right. That's a lot cheaper than
worn part.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
a lot cheaper than a new set of tires.
No
In
doubt.
a lot of cases.
Yes,
But,
sir. Yes, sir.
but we'd be glad to check those things at no charge.
Right. Absolutely.
For our customers. So we're here, and you folks out there in TV land, take advantage of that.
And you know we do so much stuff free. Along the way, if we put in a few more years of experience, but we may start doing something that we charge you for.
Absolutely.
Mr. Tommy Bain, we're at Farmers Tire Mart, downtown Newport, 1508 Mount 1501.
1501 Malcolm Avenue, where the rubber meets the road.
He's Tommy Bain. Come see us. M&P Insurance and Investment Services in downtown Newport in their beautiful building on Front Street. And Caroline Beecham joins us to talk a little bit about Medicare. And first of all, we get to visit with you once a year. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Good to see you too.
We talk about Medicare. We're going to talk about Medicare Plan B. We're going to talk about open enrollment. But Caroline, I think you get this question a lot, and I get this question after we do these interviews. Give us a little difference, an explanation between the difference in Medicare, what we're going to talk about today, and Medicaid, which is what we're not going to talk about today.
Okay. All right. Medicaid is an option that people have to apply for. It's based on your income and resources.
Okay.
Medicare is based on being 65 years old and or being on Social Security disability for 24 months. Those are just kind of some general differences. If you're not sure which one you have, I always suggest that people get their ID card out.
Sure.
And they're either going to have Medicaid or it's going to say a red, white, and blue card that says Medicare.
So the cards are the same, but the difference is just look on the card and you can tell. But I mean,
they will be different.
People use that term synonymously, and it's they're close. They're kind of coordinate together, but they're different altogether. But we want to talk about Medicare Part D. First of all, and you hear this term, open enrollment. What are we talking about here with Medicare Part D? What is Medicare Part D? Let's talk about that. What is that?
Okay, the open enrollment is the one time during the year, October the 15th through December the 7th, where Medicare beneficiaries can review and make any changes they want to their Part D, which is their prescription plan, and or their Medicare Advantage plan. So that's what open enrollment is.
Okay.
Part D is the same thing as the prescription plan.
Question.
Okay.
People are aware of this, or most people not aware of this? How do people, I mean, do people look at that every year? They should be looking at that every year. They should be making changes. They should be getting in contact with you and say, let's look at this, and you help them go through a litany of questions, or maybe a lot of information there that we may not know. That you're an expert on that, or in the field, and as I say, that you have the knowledge to help us make an intelligent decision based on the information that we give you. And I mean, the age group of people, when do you first qualify? What's the age?
65, or when you are a qualified Medicare recipient, you were on disability for 24 months.
Talk a little bit about, and we'll come back to Part D, but if there's a Part D, there's some other parts, obviously, because D is not the first letter in the alphabet. There's got to be an A, a B, and a C. Mm-hmm. What's A, B, and C?
Okay. When you look on your red, white, and blue Medicare card, you'll see Part A,
okay,
and that's the hospital expense. That's what you've been paying into while you were working. Then there's Part B, that's medical, that's the physician charges. That, when you enroll in Part B, there is a cost that will either be taken out of your Social Security check, or if you're not receiving Social Security benefits yet, Social Security will send you a bill for that.
Okay.
And then Part C is Medicare Advantage, and then D is the prescription. And you'd asked, how do people know it's time to review their current carrier for their prescription card or Medicare Advantage plan? They are required to provide their policyholders with what's called an annual notice of change.
Okay.
That gives a person this information about, this is what your new premium is, this is what the deductible is. These are the drugs that are going to be covered this year. These are the co-pays.
Okay.
They are required to provide all of their policyholders with that information, which is a good reminder that it's time to review your plan, because every January 1 the plans change.
Okay. So some drugs could be covered, some drugs not covered, some could be a higher copay or a higher deductible or something.
Absolutely.
And so every year those change, and that's why every year you need to, when you get that in the mail, to come and let us talk to you about what has changed, because there are different plans to work with that might be a better plan that might save you some money that you have to pay each and every year.
There are about 22 different prescription
Wow.
plans.
Wow.
So how do you know which one is going to be the most cost effective for you? Well, it's based on the drugs you take,
Okay.
the pharmacy you use. So without actually reviewing that information changes from year
Right.
to year.
Right.
Without actually reviewing that, you don't know if you're paying too much or if you're right on.
Well, there's no doubt that it's good to have folks that you can go see, especially locally, that you can come in and visit with and find out about Medicare and the Part D and the prescription drugs and with things changing. And it's just like anything in this world. The world's gotten so fast-paced, and there's so much information out there. But a lot of times we need some help, and that's exactly what you do. How do we get in touch with Caroline Beach if we need to talk about this, or we've gotten that letter in the mail and we need to come in and visit? How do we get in touch with you?
Well, I welcome you to call me. My direct number is 501 868 6650, and that is my direct number and probably the quickest and easiest way to reach me.
Well, we're also located in what is a beautiful, beautiful building. What about this new building? And we've been here a year or so, but boy, I mean, this is what I call state of the art. You can't get any nicer than this, isn't it nice?
This is very nice. This is very nice.
Good to
we
see.
love it.
Good to see you, girl. Medicare Part D, the prescription drug. You folks need to get in here during this time. Tell us the enrollment period once again.
October the 15th through December the 7th.
Caroline, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
My good friend John Chadwell, Newport Economic Development Commission in downtown Newport. My pleasure again to get to visit with you, sir, on a monthly basis, and welcome back to the program.
Well, thank you. It's good to visit with you as well.
I always enjoy coming here because I always enjoy the positive attitude that this office, that what you guys bring to the community, you and the chamber down here, and what a job you guys do. But we've got good things to talk about again, and there's nothing like being positive within our community, John, and we appreciate you guys so very, very much.
We just wish everybody could come and work with us for a little while because it would help everybody be positive.
Absolutely.
When you see all of the stuff going on, and we know that we have kind of a ringside seat that a lot of folks don't have, and I'll be out in the community and people go, is there anything going on? I said, well, let me tell you. And about 5 minutes into it, they're like, oh, wow, okay.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And you got another 30 minutes, I'll give you more.
It's something always. I mean, tons of things going on.
As we're filming this tonight, we got the art auction. You know, that's going to be a big deal for the Delta Visual Arts Show, which has become huge. We got the Veterans Memorial thing that'll be Saturday, and it's going to be a great event honoring the men and women who've served our country, and we're putting the finalizing touches on that. But one of the most exciting things from an economic development perspective is about 2 weeks ago, Shearer's Foods had a job fair here, and they're adding 85 jobs at the plant. And people go, oh, yay, give a little golf clap, you know, yay. But if we announced that we were bringing in a factory that would employ 85, everybody would be like, woo, woo, woo.
Absolutely.
And it's actually the same thing. I mean, a job is a job is a job, right? So we had 85 jobs at an existing industry. It's like getting a new factory, except typically they don't need any extra infrastructure to build up. There's not a whole lot of cost, and so it's a lower cost to the community way of increasing employment. So that one was a couple of weeks ago, and then on November 14th, we've got the Department of Corrections, the Grimes and McPherson unit will be here. They're looking to add 20 more employees, and these are great jobs. And these are not just jobs; these could turn into careers.
Right.
You know, because you talk to a lot of people who work at the units, and they've been with the Department of Corrections 20 years or 22 years, and they're getting ready to retire. It's got health insurance, full state retirement benefits, and really, really, really good pay. And so, you know, they are between those two. We got 105 jobs that are being added right now. And I hear people in Jackson County are going to say, well, what we need is more jobs. We don't have any jobs. We got jobs. We're at our lowest unemployment rate that we've ever been at in modern history. We're at 5.2%. And then we got companies out there adding jobs as well. And so there's a lot of good stuff going on. Because we have all this job creation and all this hard economic development activity we've been seeing, we've also contracted with a group called Retail Strategies. And they're a nationwide group that has a a special relationship to retailers, to restaurants, stores, entertainment venues, hotels, things like that. And so they're out working with us to get the demographics to help us see who we could attract. Because certain retailers have a certain criteria. Some of them want to be in a town, or not really a town, a 10-mile radius is typically what they do. So within a 10-mile radius, how many people live? And if it's a certain number of people, then yeah, they'll consider
They're
that
a prospect,
community.
yes.
How many cars a day pass by that place? That's one of the criteria. What is the general household income? What other retailers are in the community? Well, they're experts at taking all of these pieces, putting them together and going, oh, here's the 6 people whose criteria you meet.
Sure.
Now, those retail companies don't necessarily share those criteria with somebody like me, with a local economic developer. But these folks have worked with them so long that they know the criteria. So they can go to a restaurant and they can say, hey, I know y'all are planning on adding 20 locations this year.
Right.
You put that in your plan. Let me tell you one of those locations
There you
needs
go.
to be. And then they paint the picture of why that restaurant. And then what they do is they connect me and that restaurant. Well, by the time we're connected, the restaurant already knows they could work here. I already know that they can work here, and we have a much more successful relationship. So the first year of the process is a lot of research and a lot of material preparation and a lot of that kind of stuff, and it's a 3-year process. So we're hoping that about a year from now we'll begin to see activity of people who say, hey, yeah, I'll locate. But, even if a company buys a piece of property today,
Right.
it may be a year before
Sure.
they build. I mean, think about it. How long did we know Sonic was going to move before
Before they
Sonic,
moved.
Before Sonic built and moved.
Absolutely.
So you just got to understand it's not a we hired them and tomorrow we're going to have
Sure.
something process, but it's a good process that we're doing. So we're really excited about retail strategies and what's going on with them. And those are just a couple of the things that we're working on. We work in the office every day. We've had more prospects this year than we've ever had, and we're just looking forward to some more great things happening.
John, you used the word a couple of times, and no doubt it is a process from start to beginning, from start, not start to end, but from start to beginning of that business. And that process not only takes time, but it takes a lot of effort on a lot of people's part to make that thing come together. But everything is a process.
It is typically from the time we first, let's take an industry, from the time we first talk to an industry until the time that they would announce that they're coming is typically between a year and 2 years.
Wow.
And so we're still hoping, and we're still in the mix for some industries we talked to a year and a half ago.
Sure.
And we're waiting. The very first time that, we'll just take Sonic for an example. The very first time they came and talked to us about a new location and looking for a new location was 5 years before they started construction.
Wow.
So they had been thinking about it for that long, just waiting to find the right place. And so it's not something that happens overnight. It's not something that you pick up the phone and they're like, oh yeah, I'll come build tomorrow. Let's get it started. It's a process. But part of that process is having people that can answer their questions.
Right. Absolutely.
That can get them information, that can help them decide if this is the place to be or not, and that can kind of steer them and say, oh, here's why you should consider that. Because let's say that let's say somebody's looking and they find out that the piece of property they want isn't zoned the right way.
Right.
Okay. Well, they can call City Hall.
Follow the process.
Or they can call somebody like us and say, hey, could you go figure out, because I don't want to tell everybody I'm looking yet, but could you go figure out what it would take and if they would be open to rezoning this piece of property?
Right.
Well, I can go talk to local folks. Hey, do you think we would be open to rezoning this? If not, why? And then I can get back with them and say, that piece of property is probably not going to work.
Right.
Let's find it. Let's find another one. Or typically, if I call them back, I say, that piece of property is not going to work because of X, Y, or Z. But here's 4 more that might work.
Sure.
Case in point, we had a company that's looking at doing some stuff in town, and we're in the process with them, and they had identified a piece of property. And so they're working on it, and they said, hey, do you have a floodplain map? And I said, yeah. And when I looked at it, I was like, oh, my. That piece of property is dead smack in the floodplain. That is not going to work for them. But I sent it to them and said, hey, I want you to look at this and see if I'm right, but I think that property might be in the floodplain. If it is, don't give up.
Right.
There's other options.
Right.
And so sure enough, they called back and said, okay, what are the other options? Well, if nobody's working on the local end on it, what they do is they get the floodplain map and they go, oh, well, our site's in the floodplain.
End of story.
End of story.
End of story.
So you got to have somebody who shows them the possibilities. And there's a lot of possibilities and potential here in Jackson County. So if you see this before Saturday the 11th, come out to the Veterans Memorial deal on Front Street. It's going to be a big
day.
deal. And then turn around and go at 1 o'clock to the airport. They're having the 75th anniversary of the Army Air Corps Air Base out there. And they're going to have World War II planes sitting on the ground for you to look at and tour. It's going to be really fun.
Going to be a big day, and big days coming for Newport, Arkansas. We keep saying that, and no greater place in the world to live than right here in Jackson County in Newport, Arkansas.
Well, if you had told people 13 years ago, said, hey, we're going to have a Walmart Supercenter.
Yep.
McDonald's, Sonic, and Pizza Hut are all going to have brand new restaurants. We're going to have Walgreens, Tractor Supply, Hibbett, Sports,
Right.
Dollar Tree, Goodwill.
Absolutely.
All of this in town. Our unemployment's going to go from 13.5 to 5.2. You think that's worth it? Everybody would have been like, absolutely, sign me up.
That's exactly
But
right.
because it's a process and it's happened so slow, sometimes we forget to look at it.
You're sure.
And say, we've come a long way.
We've come a long way.
And there's more in the future.
My friend John Chadwell, it's always my pleasure to get to see you and to just hear the exciting news about what's going on, and we're headed in the right direction. We're getting there, my friend.
We are.
NEDC, downtown Newport, we thank John Chadwell for joining us. We're St. Michael's Place in Newport, Pecan Street, and we welcome these two fine young ladies to the program. And first of all, we'll let them introduce themselves.
My name's Keisha Plomer. I'm the Director of Nursing here at St. Michael's.
And?
Starla Buford. I'm the Assistant Director of Nursing here at St. Michael's.
So with the introductions being that way, I would assume that we're going to talk about nursing, or how we direct and assistant direct in the nursing department. Tell us a little bit about you, and you've already told me a little bit about McCrory and so on, but tell us a little bit about you growing up and why you decided to get into the field of what I call the medical field.
My grandmother actually inspired me. She actually had dementia, and I just love nursing and love taking care of people.
Well, no doubt that you do that, but tell me a little bit about growing up and graduation and all that, and how it was down in Woodruff County.
There ain't much in Woodruff County. Just a lot of farm fields in Woodruff. That's all there is.
It is that. And tell us about you, where you grew up, and tell us about why you got into this field.
I grew up here in Newport most of my life. Everybody in my family was in the medical field. My dad was a physician here in Newport. My grandmother actually owned a few nursing homes, so just kind of next step was going to nursing.
So you talk about director of nursing. Kind of tell me, Keisha, tell me a little bit about that and what your job responsibilities are here.
It's just we start from the admitting process, following physician's orders. We try to get people back up to their quality of life as much as we can. No one likes being at the nursing home, but we are here to help them and to continue with their quality of life as much as possible.
Tell me about, education or training and what it takes to be a director of nursing.
It takes a lot of experience, a lot of years, but you just don't go into it just to be going into it for the money, because it's not just for the money.
And I would ask the same thing, kind of obviously the assistant does a lot of the things, but job responsibilities on a day-to-day basis?
Making sure residents are taken care of course. Staffing responsibilities, making sure physicians' orders are being processed correctly and implemented correctly. Just the basic care of the resident and making sure that they're happy and all their needs are met.
Well, you get into this business, like you say, not for the money of it, but for the love of taking care of folks. But kind of just quickly, give me a day to day, and I know each day is different. But how does your day go? How do you go from when you get here until you go home? What are some of the things that you do?
Well, usually when I come through the front door, they're already hollering. I don't even get to make it to the time clock usually. But no, I usually do my morning rounds. I check my physician order and see if there is anything's changed from the day before. If anything's went on throughout the night that I need to be aware of, that's usually a big bulk of the start of the day. And at the end of the day, we're just wrapping up and trying to make sure everything's going well for the patient, or if someone needs anything.
Starla, where do you fit in that in the course of the day and in your daily routines? How does your day go?
Mine usually handles a little bit more with staffing. I usually make sure from the start of the day to the end of the day that staffing is complete. We're social workers, we're cooks, we're just a little bit of everything to everybody. So job changes daily sometimes.
I know that we've assembled a great team here at St. Michael's Place, and we've got good people, and we continue to grow, and we certainly know, and we certainly invite people to come out and let us look at the facility. If somebody were going to come out and get a tour from the director of nursing, what would the director of nursing, where do you tour and what do you do? You know what I mean? What do you turn on your end?
Well, I would just bring them in. We'd go hall by hall, usually sometimes room by room, show them their dining room, show them what our therapy's like. We do have a secured unit for our dementia patients, so and that tour can be done at any time.
Yeah, no doubt. And here's my question, Star. I'll let you answer this one. I guess it's a great opportunity, or you have to work with Jay Cox. Now, I don't know which that may be, and you can kind of tell me about how that goes.
Most of the time, it's not too bad. I think he's a great help to all of us. He is. He's always there when anything's needed. A lot of times, he picks up our slack as well. If we're quite bogged down and he sees that, he'll come and he'll say, "What can I do? What do you need help with?" So he's great. He's very great.
Well, no doubt he is, and we kid Jay a lot about not just what he does, but and how he does it. But a good friend of mine, Jay, we appreciate that. Jay's off camera here, but he brought us the director of nursing and the assistant director of nursing. I guess one last quick question is nursing. You talk about the staff, and I didn't tell you that I was going to ask you this question. But what about numbers of nurses on staff? How many nurses do we generally have on staff?
Right now we're running around 70, 75 residents, and we have 3 LPNs on day shift, 3 on evening shift, and 2 on nights. We're staffing anywhere from minimum, we're over minimum state with CNA wise, because like I said, 2 nurses is all we are actually allowed to have, but we actually are staffing for 3.
And you were going to say?
That's just our direct care staff. I mean, we have a treatment nurse. We have, an RN, which is me, an RN, which is Keisha, is the director of nursing. And then we also have an LPN that does our MDSs, and then we have another LPN that does our medical records. But just as far as the direct care LPN, there's 3 on days, and then 2 and 2. So.
Well, again, we mentioned a great team here at St. Michael's Place. We just want to remind everybody, if you have any questions, you're certainly welcome to come by and contact us, and you can ask who to talk to. And if you need a tour of the building, just call and tell them you'd like to have a tour and come out and certainly sit down and visit. And if you see my good friend Jay Cox out on the street, please tell him that we said hello and keep on doing a great job, because no doubt I think he has been a tremendous addition to St. Michael's Place. And you ladies, he speaks highly of, so I know you girls are doing a great job. Thank y'all so much for joining us. St. Michael's Place, Pecan Street in Newport. At Unity Health Harris Medical Center, we have visited with this young lady several months ago, but we wanted to reintroduce her and tell her, or at least ask her, about some of the big changes that we have for you. And Hannah Hare White, more commonly known as Hannah Hare, and let's talk a little bit about what you're doing. First of all, welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
All right, now the last time we visited, you were doing lots of different things. First of all, tell us a little bit about Hannah Hare White. For those of us who do not know, you're just a pretty good little old girl that kind of grew up around Newport, Arkansas, just south of this big city here. Tell us about you.
I grew up here in Newport, south of town in Auburn. My family lives there. I grew up with a big farm family. And then I graduated high school from Harding Academy in Searcy, and then I went to ASU Jonesboro at nursing school. And I got my bachelor's degree in nursing from ASU and started working as an RN at St. Bernard's when I graduated. And then I went straight through and got my master's degree at Jonesboro. And then while I also worked at St. Bernard's, I got my master's degree. And then after I graduated in May, I started working here this summer, working with Dr. Jackson and Dr. Jones. And I've really loved it, learned a lot so far this past couple of months. And now I'm seeing patients.
Now we're in a big change, a big
Yes.
change for you. Tell us about that.
So I'm now seeing patients here in the office, and it's been great so far. I just seen a lot of patients who need their yearly checkups, their yearly exams. Also, any patients who have any GYN problems that need to be seen, or any type of patients who are looking for any birth control method or contraceptive method. And then also any OB patients who are pregnant and just need to come in for their regular checkup here in the office. So it's been going good. It's been great.
I know it's going real well for you, and we've got to talk about this. Talk about the people that you're working under and now with, because what experience that these folks have in this department that you can learn under and train under, and if you've got questions, you can go to them. Talk about how important that is.
It's been awesome. Like I said, Dr. Jackson, Dr. Jones, years of experience between the both of them, and it's been great learning from them. And like I told you earlier before, if I do come across a patient that I'm just stumped and I have no idea what to do, but I know there's something wrong, either one of them is always in the office, and I can always come to them and talk to them about what should I do, or consult with them about any kind of problem that the patient may have. So it's great.
Well, and you kind of had a change because you were in cardiac at one time, and then you come over to women's health.
Yes.
Tell us about how that transition has been.
Yes, it's been really challenging working. I worked at St. Bernard's for 5 years in cath lab, so I worked in cardiology for 5 years, and then switching to women's health was a big challenge because it's both specialty focused, and and then women's health is so broad.
Yes.
It's it's been a big challenge, but I've learned a lot from both Dr. Jones and Dr. Jackson, and it's been great. It's been great so far.
Well, there's no doubt if you wanted to train under somebody, you certainly want to train under the best, and they are considered the best because they are.
They are.
Now we don't want to get out here too quickly because we got to talk about the set, because walk in the office and I see ducks here on the wall and a beautiful print behind us. Talk about your interior decorator that you have.
My mom has loved decorating this office for us, and we love duck hunting in our family. We're big duck hunters, deer hunters in our family, so we love all these beautiful duck prints and stuff that my mom has gotten for me, and she did great on all this. But so shout out to Mom for that.
And you said that your dad Trey was here.
Oh yeah, he hung them all up for me because he's really great at all that. But yeah, Dad's real big on the duck hunting too, and he loves doing all this stuff for me too. So it's been great.
You talk about the challenges that you do have, and there are challenges in a lot of fields. But you talked about the broad spectrum of women's health. Hasn't that gotten to be, and it needed to be to the forefront where maybe it wasn't 25, 30 years ago, but women's health has just simply exploded.
Right, it has. It really has. And like I said before the program, a lot of people use their GYN as their primary care doctor if they don't have a lot of problems, and they just need to come in and get their yearly checkup every year. And so that's what's great about, me, I'm in family practice, so if you do have other problems that aren't specific to GYN, you can more than welcome to come up here and see me for anything that's, that's why I went and did family practice in the beginning. So I could take care of any kind of problem that may arise. So it's been really good seeing those type of patients.
Well, there's no doubt that Unity Health is excited to have you here, and I know that you're excited to be here. And we encourage folks. We're seeing patients, as you mentioned. We would like to see patients. We need patients.
That would be great.
Absolutely. and it's a business that you're not going to be swamped when you first start out, but once people start putting their trust in you, your business will definitely grow.
Like the saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day, so it might take a little while to get patients to come up and see me, but it'll be great in the end, I feel like.
Tell everybody where we're located, right here by the hospital.
Right here by the hospital on McLean, and right here at this office with Dr. Jackson and Dr. Jones. And the phone number is 523-3289. You can call and make an appointment to see me.
That's
for sure.
what we need to do.
Yes.
That's what we. Hannah, so good to see you again. I know you're excited about where you are in life, and I know you're excited about this great challenge that you have in front of you. But no better person. I can't think of anybody better to start under these two than you, and you can make obviously a great career out of this, and it's a big help for our
I'm
community.
ready, and I'm very excited. Thank you very much.
Hannah Hare White, we appreciate you so very much. And folks, listen, if you need her services, please give her a call at that number, or just walk in the door to set up an appointment. Hello everyone, and welcome to the November edition of the Farmers Supply Association Agriculture Report. I'm Randy Klepechka, agronomist with Farmers Supply. Well, harvest is pretty much complete. You know, it's been, we're taping on the 7th of November, and I see an occasional bean field here and there that hasn't been harvested. But by and large, most of the fields have been harvested. It's really been an extremely efficient harvest. A lot of guys done in October, which is pretty rare for a lot of people. I've talked to a lot of guys who say, I just never have finished in October, or at least very few times in my career. And certainly doing that this year. It's been a good crop. Everything's been pretty good. Rice, good. Again, a few sporadic lower yields in rice. Soybeans have really been good. Maybe the best soybean crop ever, average-wise. The only real negative things I've heard were some of the water damage occurred both early and late with some flood damage on some crops. But otherwise, just a pretty good crop. And again, a great harvest season. You know, we had the remnants of Hurricane Harvey, August 31st, come through here. And since then, very little rain, you know, maybe a couple inches total in those 2 months. So it's been a great harvest season. Glad to get it over with. You know, it's time to take a little break for our farmers, at least maybe with some of the actual field work and things like that. You know, they're always thinking and planning for the future, but you know, with the field work behind them, hopefully they can take a good break and take a little breather. During that time you're taking a breather, a lot of things to think about for next year. You know, I think a farmer's mind is always turning, like most of us with our careers, you know, thinking of some things we can do to make it better, things we can do different. So I think farmers are like that as well. A lot of things they need to be thinking about now, and several of those I'm going to talk about today, just some kind of general overview of some of these things. One is variety selection and planting. A lot of our companies, especially with the good varieties, you really need to be booking seed pretty early. I really need to get it booked in the fall in a lot of cases to get the choice varieties. So need to be thinking about that. And there's several things you need to think about when making these variety selections. Of course, I guess nowadays first and foremost is herbicide tolerances, or the technologies. You know, you need to decide what kind of herbicide technology you need to plant. With rice, we've got, of course, with anything, you've got your conventional varieties, and we've got that with rice and soybeans. With rice, we've also got the Clearfield technology for red rice control, and where we use the Newport and Beyond herbicides. This year, for the first time, there's a limited seed amount of Previsia rice. Previsia is a grass herbicide, controls red rice, including Newport-resistant red rice, controls pretty much any kind of grass in a rice field. So this is going to be some good technology for us. The first variety, it doesn't have the greatest of yield potential, so unless you have red rice that's resistant to Newport, then you may not want to tackle this herbicide technology this year. You may want to wait till there's some better varieties out there. But again, if you do have Newport resistant red rice, then I think you need to look at planting some Previsia rice this year. Switching to soybeans, again, with the herbicide technologies, we've got the conventional soybeans. Roundup's ready soybeans, been around since 1995. Of course, Roundup resistance to pigweeds is such an issue there that the use of Roundup ready soybeans has gone down. Liberty Link soybeans, very good on pigweed control, probably the best pigweed control out there. So, you know, with our pigweed issues and soybeans around here, still expect a lot of Liberty Link soybeans to be planted. Kind of the big question mark is dicamba soybeans. A lot of you hear a lot about dicamba in the news. Some of the issues with the off-target issues of dicamba
damaging other kinds of soybeans that aren't dicamba, other fruits, vegetables, ornamentals, and things like that. So we're going to see where that's going to go. The dicamba varieties are very good yield potential. In most cases, probably a little bit better than the Liberty Links. In some cases, several bushels more than Liberty Links and other herbicide technologies. So you've got that yield potential, but if we can't use the dicamba because of regulations and getting the dicamba on the non-target plants that we hurt, then the dicamba technology will probably never go as far as maybe as it could. But again, the varieties are good. So if you can get the weed control, then the dicamba varieties look very good. But if you can't get the weed control, then probably need to be looking at Liberty Link or something else there. Another technology out there is STS soybeans, sulfonylurea tolerance. A couple of situations we really want to consider these. Number one, if you're next to rice fields where some of the herbicides like Regiment, Permit, some of those herbicides are going to be used, we really need the STS beans in case we get drift from those rice fields or those soybeans. So we really need the STS beans so we can withstand that drift. The other situation, if you have a lot of yellow nut sedge in your soybean fields, really not any good herbicides you can use unless you've got the STS beans where we can use the Permit. So, you know, in that case, in those two cases there, I think you need to be looking at STS soybeans. Other things we need to look at when making variety selections, of course, yield is always number one. But you got other things to look at, such as agronomic characteristics, you know, lodging characteristics, plant height, those kind of things. Look at those. And again, certain pest resistances, disease ratings, and things like that. So, you know, look at the package, determine what herbicide technology you need, look at yield, and then define those characteristics that's really important to you, and select you some good varieties and get those seed booked. Seed treatments are very important nowadays. There's a lot of seed treatments out there, including fungicides, insecticides, different fertilizers, nematicides, and combinations of all these. So read up on these during the off season, determine what kind of seed treatments you need. Usually these seed treatments are beneficial, but a lot of times you don't need all of them. You just need certain aspects of the seed treatment. So study that and see what you need. We always, you know, ask people questions and read up on them, and you can determine what's one of these seed treatments that you do need for your different crops. Need to be thinking about fertility right now. Hopefully you've got some soil samples. If you haven't gotten any this fall, well, you know, get them next spring, or maybe you've had some in the last 2 or 3 years. Use those for phosphorus and potassium needs. Zinc is very important on rice and corn. You know, look at your pHs, your zinc levels, see if you need zinc or not, and what forms to use. Boron for soybeans can be very, very important on some of these high pH rice soils, silt loam soils. So, you know, to look at those soil samples, think about your history, determine whether you need boron for your soybeans, what form to get, and get that planned out. Nitrogen, of course, for our grass crops, rice and corn. And think about some of the nitrogen technologies that have come along the last few years, such as Instar and rice, the nitrogen soil test to determine pre-flood nitrogen needs. See if you want to use that. Maybe try that out if you haven't. Also, the Green Seeker was piloted last year to determine mid-season fertilizer needs. So, you know, those are some things to consider fertility-wise. Weed control, we've talked about the herbicide technologies, determine what you need there. Really need to focus in on residual herbicides, the good residual herbicides for the crop you're planting. Try to, you know, get good residual control. Usually you need to overlap residuals. In other words, put one out there at planting and then another one before that one runs out. So consider what you need to use there. Think about your post-emergence timing of your post-emergence herbicides. Try to get it planned out where you're really pushing that and trying to get early applications of these post-emergence herbicides out there, because you can get a lot better control with them if you put them out there timely. And always be thinking about resistance management. It's very, very important. You know, we see resistance, obviously to Roundup being the big one, but there's some other resistances out there as well. You know, red rice, again, with new paths, and barnyard grass with new path, and various other resistances out there. So, you know, try to focus on resistance management, and how we do this is we rotate modes of action. So during the off season is a good time to study, you know, your herbicides for the different crops, and try to get a mix of modes of action to use each crop season. That way you're not depending on one mode of action. That way you can avoid or at least put off that resistance coming on. So, you know, try to manage that. One of the best quotes I've ever heard in regard to this is, you know, if last year's weed control program worked great, change it. So be thinking about little things you can do to mix up modes of action, change up from what you did last year, the last time this crop was in the last time this field was in that crop. And hopefully if you do those things, you can put off resistance management, and that just put off resistance, and that just makes it a lot easier to plan for future years, and you have just more choices of crop and herbicide tolerances that you can use. So again, some things to think about during the off season, and hopefully you'll have a good winter season and some time to relax a little bit. And if you ever have any questions, you can give me a call. Again, I'm Randy Klepeczka with Farmers Supply, 870-318-0739.
WRMC Medical Complex Newport. Jessica Moody joins us on our monthly report here on the Business Spotlight, and welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about Jessica Moody. Tell us a little bit about where you grew up and your schooling and your family.
Okay. Well, I grew up in Old Trough, went to high school at Newark, started out as in LPN school here at ASU Newport. My great-grandparents are from Newport. My mother grew up most of her life here in Newport, worked for, most people know her as the cell phone lady from AT&T.
Absolutely.
Worked there for 15 plus years. So I went to LPN school here at ASU Newport, went to RN school in Batesville after I got married. Did my bachelor's in 2013 through ASU Jonesboro. And then I got my master's in 2016 as a nurse practitioner, and I've been with general surgery all of them since then. I started with Dr. Lambert in 2015 and was in the ER at Batesville before then.
All right, first of all, some question. Tell me what a nurse practitioner is as such, the title itself, and then we'll get into the surgery part.
So every state's different, but for the state of Arkansas, a nurse practitioner is an advanced practice nurse. They have a master's degree in science with a focus in nursing. My specialty is family nurse practitioner, so I can see kids from birth all the way through the lifespan. There are different subgroups of nurse practitioners. There are acute care, clinical nurse specialists, and then your family nurse practitioners.
Tell me about the general surgery part, and tell me about the types of, what exactly does that mean? I mean, obviously surgery, but what type of surgeries are we talking about, and what do you particularly do how you fit in to what we do here at WRMC Newport Complex?
So we have 5 general surgeons. One of them comes here for wound clinic, Dr. Lambert, and then Dr. Pack is one of our surgeons. He comes here once a month, and then I come here almost every Monday, depending on the patient load. We have myself and another nurse practitioner that are full-time, and so we see patients in the hospital. We see patients in the clinic, either with our providers or for them, depending on the surgery schedule, because we also go into the OR with them, and we do surgery, small procedures in the office. So our guys at Batesville will do anything from your EGDs and your colonoscopies to your major surgeries, your open abdomens. We do a little bit of vascular, but they're pretty capable of taking care of whatever they need.
I got to ask you this, and it always interests me when people get into the medical field, and all different facets of the medical field are always amazing to me. I never was smart enough to do any of it, but I enjoy talking about it. Why the medical field? And then along the way, when did you figure out that's what you wanted to do?
Let's see. I started out college as an athletic training major, actually. Sports.
Wow. Okay.
And then when I figured I was going to have to travel a lot, I'm a homebody. So actually my freshman year of college, my grandmother, who I grew up a block away from my whole life, had a stroke, and she got excellent care. And that's when I decided to be a nurse.
Wow. Everybody has a story on why they did that, and a lot of people don't have stories just like this. There was some event in your life that changed what you wanted to do, and there's no doubt that you do a great job here. But your responsibilities are enormous because of the general things that you have to do and the specific things that you have to do. Just talk about that on a day-to-day basis, how your day goes.
So typically, the other nurse practitioner and myself will split the hospital role. We have anywhere from 15 to 50 patients. It depends on what we've been doing, what it's been like. When there's ups and downs, just like there is with any business, as far as how busy we are. But our guys stay pretty busy, and they like to be busy. They like to work. So we'll split the list, and we'll see our patients. We'll go to the OR with our guys if they need an extra set of hands. And then we do clinic, and so we see people for preoperative cases to help the guys make sure that they're going to get the care that they need from beginning to end. That's one thing I can say about the reason I went to work for these general surgeons is all 5 of these guys truly care about their patients and they want the best for them. So we do a lot of teamwork. We start from the beginning to end with us seeing them as well as them seeing them. That way they've got 2 sets of eyes, 2 sets of hands from the office to the hospital to after discharge.
So as far as appointments go or referrals, how does that work on your end? You're taking a caseload, or do people call and make appointments? How does that work?
So the primary care doctors have a referral line, and they all got sent out an email for that. But we also we got rid of our automated system at our office, and we're all excited about that. But, so we also have an office number. But as far as appointments, the primary care doctors can send them to us, and we kind of screen them, and then the doctors will see them, or they can send them straight to the doctor. As far as caseloads, yes, I see patients here on Monday. I see patients on Fridays at Batesville, and then one of us sees patients on Tuesdays. It just depends on who's got the heavier load at the hospital. Or the nurse practitioner and I will kind of work that one out. But there's no, while we have our own patients, they're also the surgeon's patients. So we're in contact with them 100 times a day, if not more, and we love to see people from different areas, which is why we love coming over here.
Well, there's no doubt that you guys do a wonderful job, and this facility has really added to Newport, Jackson County, Northeast and North Central Arkansas. It's been just fantastic, and Annie gets us good interviews every month, and tons of information in the medical field that you guys can provide to us on what we do, how we do it, why we do it, and when we do it. And I appreciate you, Jessica, for taking time to visit with us.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me.
All right, we're at WRMC, the medical complex in Newport, with another edition of the Business Spotlight. Well, hello again, everybody, and let's talk sports with Bud Black, and I'm David Black, and we're going to talk a little bit about Razorback football, and that seems to be the thing that most everybody is talking about around the state of Arkansas, and really around the Southeast Conference, and whether or not Brett Bielema will be back as the football coach this coming year. And lots of folks are on Bielema, lots of folks are on Jeff Long, because the football team has just not lived up to realistically any type of expectations that what they might have had for this football program, and certainly not lived up to what Coach Bielema believed that they could do also. 27-29 overall record, looking at some stuff today that my good friend Price Holmes had posted on Facebook, and 10-24 in the SEC. And I guess Price was trying to make a point, and I totally agree with him. When you look at what's going on in the history of our football program, especially in the SEC, you'll find that the SEC's not been very kind to the Arkansas Razorbacks. Bielema 10-24. We had John L. Smith for the 1 year. He went 4-8 and 2-6 in the SEC. And then Bobby Petrino, everybody remembers Petrino as being the great savior for the Hogs, and 34-17 record in his years there, 667 winning percentage, which ranks him in the top 4 or 5 in all-time history of, with some coach more than a couple of years, but only 17-15 in the SEC. So even with Bobby Petrino, the Hogs were just barely above 500 in the SEC. It's a very, very, very tough conference to play in. Houston Nutt, we remember how bad Houston Nutt was. Well, was Houston Nutt really that bad? I never did think so. He was 75-46 overall in the years from 98 to 2007. That's a .620 winning percentage, and he was 42-38 in the SEC. Danny Ford before that, he was there from 93 to 97. His overall record was 26-30, and he had a tie, .465 winning percentage, and 16-23-1 in the SEC. Joe Kynes coached in 1992. He was 3-4-1 in the SEC, 3-6-1 overall. Jack Crow had a year or a couple of years where he was 9-15 and 6-10 overall when he was coaching. Of course, Southwest Conference years come into play here. And then if you look back at Kenny Hatfield and Lou Holtz, the two guys that Holtz replaced Broyles, and then Hatfield replaced Lou Holtz. And I remember as a kid a couple of things. I remember One of the very first times I went to a football game at War Memorial Stadium, there was two things that I remember most when I had to go into the men's bathroom at halftime. I remember the stench of whiskey. Okay, I'm 7 or 8 years old and I remember that horrible, horrible smell. And I also remember all the gentlemen, all the older folks, guys like me who were in the stalls, and they were all talking about, we need to fire Frank Broyles. So this is in the 1960s, and when we're talking about firing Frank Broyles, Coach Broyles finally goes on to his great leadership and being the athletic director, but people were all over Frank Broyles because he wasn't winning enough. Lou Holtz came, had a great year his first year, 11-1, played in the big upset of Oklahoma down in Miami, and 37-18-1, a .735 winning percentage overall at 60-21-2. And the last couple of years, I can remember the fine folks of Arkansas, let's fire Lou Holtz. Kenny Hatfield lost his job after 2 back-to-back 10-win seasons. And if you remember back, the fans were on Kenny Hatfield because he ran the wishbone and they didn't like the style of offense that he ran. So Hatfield took himself and the rest of his coaches, less Jack Crow, on to the next step. He went on out to Clemson, and of course Hatfield had a great career. .760 winning percentage for us Razorback fans, and it wasn't good enough. I don't know what the expectation is for the next coach. Even if there's going to be a next coach, there will be one eventually. But I will tell you this, history tells you that we're not going to do very well in the SEC. We're going to be about average in the SEC at best, and maybe occasionally, like all of us want, we would hope that we get to play for a national championship. Folks, I think we're a long way from there. That's just my thought talking about the Razorbacks. I wish the Razorbacks well. Hope they can go 12-13-0 every year and win the national championship. And the sports program is brought to you by the Bank of England, member FDIC and equal housing lender, Bank of England Mortgage Company out at the Village Mall. Kenny Thaxton, our good buddy and big Greyhound fan, he wants you to know that if you're in the market and you need a home loan, you're fixing to buy a home loan and you need to get qualified for a home loan, give Kenny a chance to work with you and see what he can do to help you get your first home mortgage. Or if it's a second or third time that you've gone through the house buying procedures, let him work with you, and I promise you he'll do you right. Kenny Thaxton at the Bank of England. They're located, the Bank of England Mortgage Company, located in the Village Mall here in Newport.